Hey everyone, it's Nikki and welcome back to another video. This is a drawing themed video in which I am participating in a kind of style challenge where I draw my Fursona, Klaasje, in her original style, the way I normally draw anthropomorphic animal characters, and then in a bunch of iconic anthropomorphic styles. So in my original style, I typically draw anthropomorphic characters similar to the way that you would draw anime characters, which is with a pretty normally proportioned body. It's a bit stylized. For instance, she has elongated legs, and her head is a bit larger than you would draw a normal human head like in anime in order to make it more expressive, which is especially important with animal characters. But it's not quite as huge as some of the heads that you'll be seeing in these other styles that I go through. So first up, I have an Animal Crossing version of Klaasje. Now, with Animal Crossing characters, their facial features are kind of anything goes. Some of them have round eyes, some of them have stylized eyes, some of them have white sclera, some of them have no sclera. So the face was kind of whatever I wanted, but I did look at a couple different Animal Crossing rabbit characters for inspiration. I didn't really like any of their faces, but I did like how their ears were structured. In terms of her actual face, I was mostly inspired by Marshall. I really liked his little kind of pouty face, and I just kind of went with my gut when it came to her eyes. As for her outfit, I know you can customize things in Animal Crossing, so I just gave her a very basic little Peter Pan collar shirt dress, and I matched it with a bow. I didn't draw the bow in the original drawing because I wanted to kind of show off how I normally draw Klaasje's features, but in all of the other drawings, she will be adorned with a bow on her left ear. Next up, we have Klaasje as if she were a Sanrio character. There were a couple of different ways I was thinking about going about this. I was first thinking maybe making her a Gretzko character, which is a bit of a different style than most of the Sanrio characters. It has more jagged edges and less pastel colors, but I decided to go with the more traditional Hello Kitty type Sanrio character. I specifically looked at Hello Kitty and My Melody as reference, but when it came to her outfit, I wanted to have it be a bit more edgy, so she's got a little fishnet top underneath her overalls. Alright, next up we have the 1920s and 1930s style Inkblot or rubber hose cartoon character. This one was really fun to draw. I really liked this style. I was mostly inspired by Oswald the Lucky Rabbit when it came to her design, because he's obviously an iconic cartoon from that era. And I also took a little bit of inspiration from Minnie Mouse with her outfit, particularly in how her skirt fit on her body and how she had these kind of high heels. I chose to make her fur gray rather than leave it black to kind of distinguish her from some of the other typical Inkblot or rubber hose cartoon characters. I know some characters did have gray fur instead of black fur, and I just sampled her fur color in grayscale to get the gray, which was pretty dark already, and I think that it contrasted nicely with the black line art. Next up, we have another style that I definitely enjoyed drawing in. This was drawing Klaasje in the style of Osamu Tezuka, who is often called the father of manga. He's the creator of manga such as Astro Boy and Kimba the White Lion. Is just an icon in the medium and has been influential to many different manga artists. So for Klaasje, most of Tezuka's characters were either humans or quadruped animals, but he did have a couple of biped animals. So Klaasje was particularly inspired by Bokko from The Amazing Three, as well as Michan or Mimio. I'm not sure what his name was, different sources varied, but here's what he looks like. I took his ears because I thought that Bokko's black-tipped ears were a bit too iconic to her design, and I really liked the curved ears that Michan has. Since manga is almost exclusively printed in black and white, and most of the films Tezuka worked on were black and white because it was the 50s and 60s, I also decided to make this version of Klaasje grayscale. And now we're moving on to another famous Japanese property, Sonic the Hedgehog. This was the first different style character I sketched, and I wasn't entirely happy with how the sketch turned out. I kind of tried to edit it in Photoshop a little bit because she had a serious 5-head going on. I mostly based her design on Bunny de Colette. I'm not familiar with the character, but she looks pretty badass, so there's that. In addition to Bunny, I also took some inspiration from Rouge the Bat when it came to designing Klaasje's eyes because I really liked her kind of half-lidded, cool, calm demeanor. When it came to picking out an outfit for Klaasje, since she's a Sonic character, I thought that something sporty would be appropriate, so I gave her a little tennis skirt. I also happened to have seen like a Sonic fan character that had a tennis skirt, and I thought it was really cute. But I completely abandoned that idea when I got to her shoes because I didn't want to draw sneakers, and I felt that Mary Jane's would go well with this outfit, so... Next up is Klaasje, as if she were a Hanna-Barbera character. Hanna-Barbera has a special place in my heart. Growing up, I basically exclusively watched Boomerang, so I saw a lot of Hanna-Barbera cartoons like Scooby-Doo, Yogi Bear, Tomcat, etc. So for this version of Klaasje, I decided to base her on Ricochet Rabbit. I even copied one of his iconic little poses there. And I also took some inspiration from a female rabbit that appeared kind of as a background character for her eyes especially, but I really liked Ricochet's big nose, so I kept that detail. I was really happy with the kind of little peanut body that I drew on Klaasje, and I didn't want to cover it up with like a skirt or pants, so I just gave her a little Peter Pan collar puff sleeve shirt that just didn't cover her nether regions, because that's how cartoons roll, I guess. Next up, we have another piece of media that was very influential to me during my childhood, and that is Disney's ToonTown Online, or as it lives on now, ToonTown Rewritten. If you watched the video I made a little while ago about being in the furry fandom for a really long time, you'll know that ToonTown was what got me into it via DeviantArt, so ToonTown will always have a place in my heart because of that. There are a couple different ToonTown rabbit designs, but I chose one where the muzzle was not taking up the entire part of the face, and I drew her in one of the little iconic poses that the game has where you can wave at people. This one was also really fun to draw, and I'm really happy with how it came out. And finally, we have Klaasje as if she were a Disney character, specifically something out of the movie Robin Hood. Now, you might notice that this is the only sketch in this video that was done digitally, and that was because I did have an initial traditional sketch, but I didn't really like how it turned out. She was kind of a butterface. So a few Disney tutorials and studies later, I came up with this sketch, which I was much happier with. You might also notice that I've sketched clothing onto Klaasje, she has a little bit of a dress, but I ended up keeping her nude even though the characters in Robin Hood were clothed, simply because, once again, like with the Hanna-Barbera version of her, I really liked how her body turned out and I didn't want to cover it up. So she's a little bit of a nudist, but, she'll live. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It was really fun to make and for me to kind of get outside of my comfort zone with how I draw characters. I'm used to drawing them with more humanoid proportions, so drawing them with more chibi or animal proportions was really different. I also tried to vary how I did the line art in certain styles. For instance, I used different brushes, different sized brushes, and so it was really interesting to experiment with that kind of stuff, especially when you're converting 3D or pixel art characters like with Sonic and Toontown into these 2D flat images. So comment down below which one is your favorite or which style more generally is your favorite. I think I really liked the Inkblot design a lot, as well as the Tezuka design. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!